Only 2 short years ago, the North Penn Knights completed an improbable journey when Eddie Pasovic slid across home plate to cap off what for most is a journey taken only once in a lifetime.
Swinging a ground ball in the hole left side. Pasovic's going to be waved around third. Up with the throw as Kyle fails. The play at the plate. The throw is not in time, and the North Penn Knights are state champions of Pennsylvania.
Who would have dared predict that only 2 seasons later, a similar journey was about to begin?
But Gary, the balance of power for the big schools has definitely shifted to the eastern half of the state. This is the 6th consecutive year without a Western representative. 5 years in a row, this title has been won by a Philadelphia area school, District 1 or 12. You've already mentioned North Penn out of District 1. They want to carry on that tradition.
And certainly a little tradition with North Penn. They have 2 state titles, 09 and 13. They're kind of like a baseball academy, the way their head coach, Kevin Monero, approaches the game.
You can see it in everything they do, the way they literally, the way they walk onto the field, the way they take their infield, outfield, the way they approach the pitching. It is really a very well-schooled at an advanced level bunch of players.
Interestingly enough, they're the only non-district champ to be in the state finals of this year.
As we all know, the precision of a good pregame routine, a well-executed bunt, or, well, a timely extra innings long ball, it all starts long before the first pitch of the season is ever thrown.
I'm just trying to put these kids in position to have the best possible season for North Penn that we can.
As other seniors come in, we can form like a team and trying to set the goal for everyone to come up, especially in the weight room, and set the tone for everyone to go to every team meeting.
We're getting a lot stronger, and it helps us during the season because during the end of the season, some of us get tired, but when we come to all these, we learn just to be mentally tough, and then our bodies will last longer.
Nobody ever said being at school at 5:15 in the morning was easy, but when we go back and look at some of the plays we made in very close games late in the season, it's hard to argue that what we did in the winter wasn't a big reason why we were able to make those plays.
They say that good things come to those who wait, and waiting is exactly what the 2015 Knights did. When the winter workouts came to an end, and the first week of March finally rolled around, it would be several more weeks before the Knights could finally take the field. But when a long, snowy, and brutally cold winter finally released its grip, James Whitner gripped the baseball, and the Knights got right to work.
Everybody's playing in the same conditions, so it's not like anyone has an advantage over anybody. You just have to make sure you have a good grip on the ball and just trust your preparation.
Off to a perfect start and perched atop the Continental Conference standings, it wasn't long before this competitive conference reared its head, and the Knights traveled to 2nd Street in Percy for a highly touted early season showdown that for a while seemed it may be an early season setback.
But baseball is democratic, and it has no clock. So when Greg Kerr stepped to the plate, with us trailing 2-0 and down to our final out, well, let's just say sometimes this Knights team liked to save their best for the game's final chances. The season was still young, but as far as early season games go, this was a big one.
The 3-2 win over Penn Ridge was an early season triumph that kept the Knights in the driver's seat, and those late-inning heroics proved to be a resounding portent of things to come.
As we know, there is generally little breathing room to be had in the Suburban 1 Continental Conference, and this season was certainly no exception. Sitting at 11-2 and just one game up on Hatboro Horsham, we took the battle for the conference championship down to the regular season's final day. A day that proved to be big for seniors and even bigger for Zach Ziegler, who turned in some heroics of his own, this time with a glove.
The Knights literally hung on to beat the Hatters 2-1 and earned their second straight Continental Conference title. But as things turned out, the journey was only just beginning. Throwing in a little District 1 plot twist of its own, the postseason peregrination around the state began with a very familiar foe. This time around, things came a little easier for the Knights, and the bats got hot at just the right time. Next up, the Knights set out to tame the Bears of Boyertown in front of a big crowd at North Penn, and with a trip to states on the line.
Of course, we also needed the hot bat of Jared Malone to get us to the district final. Jared Malone, quite simply, is one of the best baseball players in the program's history, and we needed every swing he gave us this year. And while Jared's triple propelled us into the district final, well, it's not always North Penn's style to have to win the district final to go on.
It turned out that minor bump in the road was all just part of the process.
After topping a gritty Olney Charter team 5-0 in the opening round of states, any kind of comfortable lead would quickly become a thing of the past. In the state quarterfinals against Pennsbury, we once again rode the arm of James Whitner, this time with the tying run 90 feet away in the 7th inning, and got out of there with another 2-1 victory. And just like that, we found ourselves one win away from a trip back to Happy Valley. With only one game standing between us and Penn State, it was time to get on the bus and hit the road for a 2.5-hour trip out to Green Township Park, where 7 years ago, another North Penn player with the last name Christie used the long ball to help the Knights to a Mercy Rule State semifinal victory. Unlike Scott Christie, the 2015 version of a Knight named Christie wasn't exactly known for his power hitting, but then again, baseball certainly can be unpredictable. This game got off to a bit of an uncharacteristically sloppy start.
Bobbled safe all around as Christie could not get it off the dirt. And the 1-2 here. Curveball swung on and missed, and he struck him out. That is just the second time this season that Jared Malone has struck out.
But, as we've found out many times before, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. This team had an incredible amount of character, resilience, and readiness. And on any given day, it could be any hitter who would come up with that big hit.
Here comes the payoff pitch. Swing and a line drive to center field. Coming in is Petropolo. Jumps up, makes the catch. Peterson tagging. Throw coming home is cut off. Peterson scores. Malone to third. And this game is tied.
This game definitely had some late offensive fireworks, but they never would have meant anything if it wasn't for the strong right arm of our senior Colin Healy.
2-2 pitch swung on and missed, strike three.
But it wasn't really quite as easy as it might have looked.
Outside, ball four, and now the base.
This was one of 3 times in states that we were 90 feet away from the game being tied or lost. But this group of players always found a way.
Pop-up. Very shallow right field. Ziegler.
They're both calling it.
Oh, my goodness. Mason Nadeau steps right in front of Ziegler, who was camped out under it, and makes the catch, and a very big exhale comes from the North Penn dugout.
With Anthony Cameron on second base in the top of the 8th, and us and Shaler embattled in a pitcher's duel of epic proportion, Mike Christie stepped to the plate, and what happened next is something that people will be talking about for a long time.
Potok working from the stretch here. First pitch to Christie. Ripped deep to left field. Going back, Muller to the track. The wall. Gone! It's a 2-run home run for Mike Christie. And the North Penn Knights lead it 3-1 in the top of the 8th inning. A tremendous blast from the Knights shortstop. and the Knights are in the lead 3-1.
What a shot by Mike Christie, and what a big moment for the young man. He is being mobbed in front of the dugout. They are all over him.
And after that, Colin Healy took the Knights on his shoulders, and with 3 quick outs, the Knights were headed back to Happy Valley.
North Penn traveled well today. Their crowd making some noise here in the bottom of the 8th inning with the Knights leading by 2. The 0-1. Ground ball off the bare hand of Healy, fielded by Christie. Bobbled, throws to first, head first slide, and he's out. North Penn is going to the state championship game for the 3rd time in the last 6 seasons. An improbable come-from-behind win over the Shaler Area Titans, 3-1 in Chambersburg.
Same game plan as always. Keep the ball down, let them hit it. It's always easier that way. I knew my fielders, they're going to make any play they had to. And yeah, that was the game plan.
I had a good feeling. I had a feeling it was over his head. I just wanted to be over his head so we could score a run, you know what I mean? And then obviously it went over the fence. That was awesome.
When you see it plop and you know you got it, I mean, what's the feeling? I mean, that's a hit that sends you to state college.
I know, it was awesome. Honestly, it's the best feeling in the world right now, and the fact that we get to play for a state championship is even better.
You're right, Mike. It was a great feeling. But before we played one more game, there was one additional matter of unfinished business for our seniors on the eve of the state final.
Tomorrow, our 2015 baseball team will provide us the excitement of another state-level competition. And we optimistically look forward to bringing home another championship banner.
And after that, it was caps in the air and onto the bus headed west, where we'd be joined by hundreds of our closest friends. Things started off as well as they could in the state final with some early base runners and timely hitting to put us up on the board quickly after the first couple innings.
Indeed, he'll lead it off with a double.
We plated the game's first run off the bat of Mason Nadeau, who, as it turns out, was digging into a batter's box with which he will soon grow very familiar.
The 0-1, grounded to short. This will score a run as Loophole is up with it. Throws to first to get Nadeau, but he puts the ball in play, gets the RBI, and the Knights take a 1-0 lead here in the top of the first inning.
Before the season started, we didn't know who our starting catcher was going to be. But just like a couple young players did 2 years ago, Matt Marino found ways to make a big impact in his rookie season.
Kevin Monero in his 3rd season, 55-20 for North Penn. That could be a double play. 1, not 2. So that'll be an RBI for Matt Marino. Drive in Jake Schuster with the 2nd run of the ball game.
2nd run scored on a
All throughout the offseason, whenever anybody would ask, the answer was simple. It was all our pitching. If our pitching could be 1 year better than it was a year ago, we might have a pretty good team on our hands. And, well, the performance that James Whitner turned in the state final pretty well typified what our pitching staff was able to do all season long. Not only did James throw strikes, but it was the poise and the defense and the way he kept the game in check around him that was just as big a part of his success as anything else. And in addition to the pitching, it was another masterful display of defense from guys all over the diamond and in big spots.
0-2. There's a base hit, right field. Ziegler comes up. He's going to fire to the plate. There's going to be a play. And they got him.
Perfect relay. I did not think he should have gone. The ball got out to Zach Ziegler in a real hurry.
After some early scoring, this thing was turning into an intense battle. And as the game went on, there was definitely a lot of electricity starting to form in the air, and in more ways than one. And then the rains came.
We will suspend this big moment of this big ball game.
I guess if you have to have an hour-plus rain delay, it helps when you have a team with a little personality. Well, this team had a lot of personality. Guys like Kellen Williamson, Mike Pooley, Johnny Posavec, Zach Call, Tucker Berg. These guys, and really everyone on the team, they were a blast. even in the most tense environments, we always had plenty of laughs. Yeah, there was even that one day that Mike Pooley gave us all a lesson in speaking Hebrew. Well, anyway, when it came time to get serious, though, we were always ready to go. Even though sometimes, when it rains, it pours.
Throw over to first. Oh, it gets away. Run comes home from third. That is Tekmansky. Coming around from second, Montalvo. He scores. We're tied. An error has tied this game in the bottom of the fifth inning.
So we made a little mistake. Big deal. But one thing we did all year, if we did make a mistake, was we got the next out. And we knew we had plenty of baseball left in this one.
Schuster 0 for 2, reached on an error and scored in the second inning. Left-handed batter against Gregory. Swing, line drive, left field, sinking, falling, base hit. Here comes Malone to score, and Jake Schuster has given the Knights the lead in the top of the sixth inning with an RBI single to left.
We were inches away from wrapping it up here, but, well, we wanted to give people more baseball to watch.
Gets the sign from Marino. Ready with the 2-2. Here it comes. Swing and a line draw off the glove of the shortstop. Christie into left field. Coming around third is Zavada. Throw goes to third. We're tied with runners at the corners as Vogt comes through again in the clutch for the Spartans with the RBI single.
If there was any moment in the game that I thought we might be in trouble, well, it might have been that hot shot comebacker that caromed off of Whitner, but once again, it was all about the poise. And he managed to get us out of that inning and give us a chance to win it late once
Gregory's
again.
1 for 3 in the game. Ground ball off of Whitner. Fumbles it off the mound. Steps, throws to first in time. And Whitner saves himself in the Knights. And for the fourth time in the last 5 years, the Quad A state championship game is going extras.
2 years ago, it was injuries that forced Anthony Cameron into the lineup as a young sophomore in the postseason. But this time around, it was a grizzled senior ready to contribute and proving that it's not how far you hit it, but just that you make contact in key spots.
Jankowski the 2-2. A curveball tapped out in front of the plate. Jankowski off the mound, slips. High throw to first, gets by the first baseman. Coming home is Peeler. Cameron back to first, and the Knights lead on the throwing error. It's 4-3 now in the 8th inning.
This team, they were unlike any other. Their character, their closeness, their camaraderie, their humor, their competitiveness, and their hard work. Well, it all came together here on a very special night in Happy
North Penn crowd on their feet behind the third base dugout. The 0-1 from Whitner. Ground ball, right side. This could do it. Apple fields it, flips to Whitner. Ball game over. North Penn, state champs for the third time in the past 7 years. A 4-3 victory for the North Penn Knights. They pile in front of the mound, and the trophy is headed back to Lansdale.
We celebrated that June night at Penn State, but we know that the hard work began many months before in those cold winter mornings. And when our guys climbed the steps into the weight room, they were climbing their way into the record books. 23 wins in 2015, single-season school record, and what an honor for USA Today to name us the 20th best team in the nation. Couldn't have asked for it for any better group of guys than the 2015 North Penn Knights.
Lay back and smell the sun. Warm up the Georgia pie. Feels so good to be taking it easy. Why would I ever leave? 'Cause I know I got some good friends that live down the street. Got a good-looking woman with her arms around me. Here in a small town where it feels like home. I got everything I need and nothing that I don't. Oh no, oh if you don't believe me, why would I ever leave? 'Cause I know I got some good friends that live down the street. Got a good-looking woman with her arms around me. Here in a small town where it feels like home. I got everything I need and nothing that I don't. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. I got some good friends that live down the street. Got a good-looking woman with her arms around me. Here in a small town where it feels like home. I got everything I need and nothing that I don't. Everything I need and nothing that I don't. It's the way that you carry from the things you think you want. It's the way that you carry from the things you think you wear. It's you and carry on. It's the way that you carry from the things you think you want. I got everything I need, nothing that I don't. Everything I need, nothing that I don't. Everything I need, nothing that I don't. Oh, everything I need and nothing that I don't.
One day I'll slow and way down, spend my weekends in a swing out on the wraparound. Oh, but these days I'm on a mission to get these wild oats out of my system. Yeah, I might stay out all night. I gotta do a little wrong so I know what's right. I wanna sit out on the porch telling stories about my glory days when I'm pushing 80. How am I ever gonna get to be old and wise if I ain't ever young and crazy? Now I might have to kiss, no telling how many lips, before I ever really figure out what love is. Go through some heartbreaks, wake up with headaches. Don't learn nothing till you make a lot of mistakes. How will I know where to draw the line if I don't cross it a few hundred times? I wanna sit out on the porch telling stories about my glory